the alleged alien hybrid breeding program and captured extraterrestrials breeding with humans. For two-part question, why are you talking about this now that you're out of Congress, and what do you make of this?
Well, I was giving an interview to my good friend Benny Johnson, and he was asking about some of the strangest briefings that I had received around these UAP and UFO issues. And it wasn't actually a briefing that I received in Washington, D.C. It wasn't a briefing I received in a classified setting or even in the Capitol. I was back in Crestview, Florida, in my district office, and a service member who was connected to the 7th Special Forces Group mission at Camp Bull Simon near the Eglin Air Force Base, where a lot of weapons testing occurs. He requested a meeting with his congressman, and when folks in uniform wanted a meeting with me, I didn't slough it off to staff. I would personally take those meetings, and he came in with 2 defense contractors with silver hair and dark suits, and he laid out his allegation that there was this program run by the military where they essentially trafficked people into these breeding environments where entities from outer space were captured and held for that purpose. Now, to be clear, I had in the meeting with me my general counsel and my chief military attaché. Both of them thought the briefing was nonsense. They thought this was a service member who was, up to something or not completely all there. They thought that the other participants in the meeting could have just been kooks. And so we didn't do what was asked of us, which was to stage a simultaneous raid on multiple locations with members of Congress in parts of the country where the allegation was that this program moved from place to place.
So you're no longer bound by secrecy. Give me your thoughts. Is this alien, extraterrestrial, demonic? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I really don't. And I think that there is pressure for leaders to have a definitive opinion on this. And frankly, the access to information that we sought from the military about UAPs, about recovered craft, about biologics. There was such an effort to keep us away from it. When we sought subpoena power, we fought congressional leadership who stood in the way, members of both political parties. When we wanted to talk to certain people in the intelligence community, we were told that there was a different level of access or classification that we had to get an approval for, or a letter or a designation. And I mean, as you said in your intro, I was on the House Armed Services Committee for 8 years. I didn't take kindly to generals telling me that I couldn't see radar signatures or that I couldn't talk to pilots who had extraordinary stories about some of these events. At times, our investigations did reveal important information. It was the investigation that Congressman Burchett led that allowed David Grush to expose his role in craft recovery, and that the CIA maintained a craft recovery unit. And so the investigation is ongoing. People like Eric Burleson, a congressman from Missouri, Ana Paulina Luna in Florida, they're doing great work on this.
So what did you see that you could share with us that made you pause and think that, this is something big, something that the American people need to know about, and especially if our tax dollars are going to pay for these experiments? I mean, an alien hybrid breeding program, did you see anything as a result coming out of this?
No, I only received the one briefing about it, and again, the collective judgment of that was that we wouldn't be in a position to execute a simultaneous raid, which was the only next investigatory step. So no other steps were taken on that other than sort of receiving a strange and unbelievable briefing. There were things I did see with my own eyes that concerned me. And most often, that was when I was viewing video that had been declassified or released by the United States Navy, and also when I looked at various radar signatures. It was always concerning to me when I would look at recorded radar and I would see in the atmosphere or on the screen what just didn't look like any technology that the United States possessed, and how propulsion worked, and how the MIRVing of objects into and out of one another seemed to occur in some sort of rhythmic way, but also undetectably. And it were those moments that got me asking more questions than the briefing on the hybrid program ever did.
So why this? Why now? President Trump said he's going to, disclose all the files, the UAP files. And we know about Project Bluebeam. We know that there are things that they don't want us to know. Why? And why is all this coming out now?
I think generally leaders don't want people to be afraid. That's not specific to the UAP issue, whether it's war or peace, whether it's economic conditions. Leaders want their constituents to feel safe and secure. And when there aren't easily explainable answers to how objects are moving, or speed, or plasma propulsion, all these different things, that we're learning more and more about, it is unsettling.